The critical inner voice is those negative thoughts that we tell ourselves about ourselves and about other people that influence then how we feel about situations and about ourselves, about other people, and also that influence then how we're likely to behave. And what we found in our work is that if you can get a hold of those thoughts, first of all, recognize them. Often people just believe these thoughts about themselves and just think this is reality, or this is reality about other people. And if you can start to recognize that what you're telling yourself about yourself and about other people may not necessarily be true, and start to identify those thoughts, that's the first step in sort of getting a hold of them. And realizing also, where do these thoughts come from? When did I start to think this way about myself or about other people, about the world, about life? And often people, when they start to look into it, there was particular incidences or overall feelings that they got in their families or in their where they grew up, or from their 5th grade teacher who used to humiliate them in front of the room, that they've now internalized and are believing and seeing the world through the filter of this critical inner voice, then is again influencing how they feel about it and how they react. So the first step is getting a hold of it, just recognizing that you're telling yourself a lot of these things and they may not be true. And a lot of what you assume to be true about yourself may not be true. And if you can pay attention to that, looking at times when your mood changes, when your glass goes from looking half full to half empty, what are you telling yourself in that moment? When you had that fight with your loved one, what were you telling yourself in that moment? When you've had a bad day at work, what are you telling yourself in that moment? What's going on in your head? And start to identify those things. Get them out there so you can look at them more objectively and start to disidentify with them, realize they're not just who you are. And then really starting to understand where they came from so that you can get some compassion for yourself, that you didn't get feeling this way from nowhere. And then actually really start to challenge them by not living out the behaviors that they're directing you to engage in, or not doing the things that they're telling you not to do. So if you feel anxious being around people, what are you telling yourself that other people think about you? And then testing that out, is that really true? And starting to challenge it in your behavior.